it's been a great day. Defeated a bunch of youmu, got them all praised, and even got groceries. Now it's time to sit back, relax, and... Hold on. A message from the Spirit World Warriors Observation Department. Great. What do they want?
To whom it may concern, it has come to our attention there have been several violations made known to our department, including previous offenses. These may include 1. Foul language and content deemed inappropriate for young children and warriors in training. 2. Spoiling classified documents with others, such as Beyond the Boundary and several others. 3. Expressing opinions that may or may not affect this organization in its entirety. We request your presence at our next department hearing in order to discuss these offenses further.
This is really unpleasant.
Hello, one and all, and welcome to Dub Talk, a group where a bunch of literary students get together and talk about our freaky fetishes.
That's how we're starting this?
Hell yeah, welcome back to the filler episode, you bitches! I read your comments last year about Carnival, so we've dubbed this as a yearly tradition where myself and Lilac get together and talk about whatever the fuck we feel like.
Woohoo!
Obviously,
Welcome, boys and girls!
Welcome, boys and girls. Hello, obviously I am Megan, and I have a fetish for being stepped on by tall blonde women. Not really.
I feel like I've learned a very dirty secret, and I don't know how to feel anymore.
I'm joking, you know that. I have a boyfriend.
I know you do.
Don't worry, Steph, I won't put my hands on under your armpits.
No, that's supposed to be me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. It's the other way around with us. Anyway,
the other way around with us.
If you haven't guessed by all of our literary club jokes and freaky fetishes, tonight we are obviously talking about Kyōkai again.
I mean, it's pretty close to the show. And isn't Kyōkai also KyoAni? Oh.
Yep, that's right, kids. Tonight we're talking about the Kyoto animation series Beyond the Boundary, the series that came out in 2013. And the story goes as follows, as according to the back of my release case DVD. They should have never met. They shouldn't even exist. But when they come together, the entire world will change. The last surviving member of her clan, Mirai Koriyama, is cursed with the terrifying ability to control and manipulate her blood. A power so heretical that she is shunned by even those with the abilities to understand her gift. Akihito Kambara is only half human, while the monstrous other half of his lineage seems to have doomed him to a life alone, it has also given him near invulnerability in the form of rapid healing. Alone, their future seems bleak, but when the chance encounter brings them together, it becomes clear that they share more than just an unexpected bond. Together, they share a destiny that only the two of them combined may be strong enough to survive. Beyond the world that we know, in a realm where nightmares are real and legends walk, the future awaits in Beyond the Boundary. That is an awful fucking synopsis of the show.
You wanted to read it.
I didn't think the synopsis was that bad.
You should have looked before we started.
You know what? Go fuck yourself, Mom. No, in truth, the story is about Akihito Kambara and Mirai Koriyama living in a town where, like it said, Mirai has cursed blood, and Akihito is a youmu. Youmu are essentially demon monster thingies that get killed by Spirit World Warriors, who are essentially the supernatural police, who gets to turn them into crystal gems, a la Steven Universe, and sell them for fucking money! Along the way, there's also Hiromi and... I want to call her by her actress, and I can't.
Mitsuki?
Mitsuki, as well as the other Spirit Warriors and Youmu in there. And essentially the series becomes essentially the world's greatest love, a love story, as well as being a story about love and acceptance and being with people who can understand you. So with that out of the way, we've been rambling on for too long, so are you ready to get into oh yeah, right.
I think there's two big things that we need to mention.
Yes. First of all, we are only covering the 12 episodes of the show and the OVA. we are aware that there are 2 films. However, this episode will not be covering those 2 films. If we do cover them at the later time, it will not be covered by either of us, as we have already said our piece on the performances and this dub.
The other big thing is, I think Beyond the Boundary was another one of the shows that we wanted, similar to Carnival, we wanted to do this from the fucking beginning.
And we just never got to.
Yup. Surprise!
I mean, the filler episode was either going to be this or the Morose Mononokean, but the other girls wanted to cover the Morose Mononokean with us.
Well, we kind of promised that we would. So.
Yeah, well, okay, correction. We only promised Gigi we would so we could torture her.
Because I forgot who plays one of the characters.
That's right, children. Tonight is jokes at Gigi's expense night.
Gigi, we love you.
Gigi, we love you. But you're also really into garbage, and we need to talk about your love of a fedora-wearing man who calls you Bitch Chan.
God damn it. We're not trying to stage an intervention, I promise.
Are you
Even though it's sounding like it right now.
Look here, I know your Hisoka body pillow is in your bed. No, it's not. She doesn't sleep with it. Like, I don't sleep with my Kaneki one. Anyway, so let's move on to our director and our writer.
Before we dig bigger holes for ourselves.
I mean, we can dig your hole pretty deep.
Let's not.
All I have to do is play Sexy back.
I'm over it, remember?
Oh, that's right. Damn it, I need to find another song to ruin for you.
Oh, God.
Anyway, speaking of things that aren't ruined for us, the director and writer, obviously because we have no predictions for this episode, and this is a review, we are just going to state who it is. The director for Beyond the Boundary is one Mr. Christopher Ayres, and the writer is one Lainey Hooks. Christopher Ayres has directed other series such as Hana Yamata, Tamako Market, which is also a Kyoto animation show, and Little Busters. Lainey Hooks has written for series such as Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions, a Kyoto animation show, Sunday Without God, and Watamote, a show that was a little too real for one Mr. Classy Spartan. Andrew learned how girls take care of themselves when they don't have boys, or other girls, or people that they're in love with.
Oh, God damn it.
Anyway, so, let's start off with you, Steph. What is your impressions on the direction and writing of this show?
This is gonna be a bold statement, and I was gonna save this for the end, but this is a very bold statement for me. This is one of, if not the best dubs that Sentai has ever produced. Bar none. Like,
damn!
It says a lot. It's some people might think I'm wrong, but
I'm not saying you're wrong either. I actually kind of agree with you.
Yeah, because a lot of time and effort definitely went into this show. If I'm right,
this was also one of their earlier works.
I would say fairly early.
I remember this being one of the things that really kind of put Sentai on my radar, because this was one of their first bigger premium collections, too.
Yeah, I think Beyond the Boundary was one of their first premium collections, if I'm right, yeah. I think it was either that or... not Love, Shinobu. Can't remember off the top of my head. I want to
say, one of their other first ones was, was it Ajin or Akami ga Kill, or...
Could be one of those.
I want to say it was something.
No, I want to say the first one was High School of the Dead.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
That's probably what it is. But in terms of the directing and writing on this show, I think it's absolutely phenomenal. The writing is very straightforward. It sticks, from what I can tell, it sticks very close to the material, but does have its moments of looseness, mostly in the comedic moments, because let's face it, there's a good amount of comedy in this show. I mean, we brought up the warming of the hands under the armpits joke for a reason.
Hiromi is cold all the time because of his powers.
Yes. Hiromi is adorable. Hiromi is my favorite.
Akihito is my favorite. We do plan on cosplaying, feminine versions or gender bent versions.
I mean, I want to do a gender bent version of Hiromi. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, my only thing is I'm gonna have to get a skirt long enough for me.
I need to figure my shit out. But yeah, the writing is pretty straightforward. I think it's, for the majority of it's rather faithful. It does have some moments when it's where it can be a little bit more free-flowing and loose. But it also the dialogue itself doesn't come off as stiff to me. It flows very naturally with the timing and the pacing of everything. And in terms of the directing, like, I've only had nitpicks in a couple of areas. One of which is, and I actually talked to Megan about this a little earlier today, there were some moments where the lip flaps didn't match the dialogue to me. There were some moments where it kind of slipped up, but that's a minor nitpick. Though, to be fair, I also noticed it in the first 5 minutes of the entire show, so...
To be fair, I hadn't even noticed until she actually said something to me.
Yep. And then I kind of picked up on it a couple more times. But... And then I think there was really one, maybe two performances that were kind of iffy to me, but at the same time, I grew to love them all the same. I absolutely adore the casting of this show. I love the performances. And the big thing I really do want to give Chris Ayres credit for on this is how distinctive all these characters sound.
Yes.
Particularly with the main four, they do not sound similar in any way, shape, or form. To the point where you could probably put the show on in the background, and if there's a scene with all four of them there, you can easily tell who is who. There's nothing that's similar. They all have distinct personalities and performances, and to take the time to create those voices for these varying personalities and these varying emotions that these characters have to go through, I really have to commend Chris for that, as well as the voice actors who were involved in this project. So kudos to everyone on that one, because this is probably one of my favorite Sentai dub, and it's probably, to me, one of the best I have ever seen them produce, like I said this beginning.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick up on there, and I really do want to bring up the fact that not only does it feel like the main four sound completely different from each other, because there actually are points of this weekend where I had to turn my head away from the screen. I'm house sitting right now, by the way. I have two very dumb dogs.
They are sitting on her bed currently.
They're actually on my bed behind me right now, because there's a thunderstorm coming. And they're big babies. I mean, Bailey, especially Bailey, is not a bright light. She's also a baby, so she's only a little more than a year-old, so. I've had to take my eyes off it. I've also had to cook while watching this. Steph is completely right. You can tell Hiromi and Akihito are completely separate from each other. And to me, the bigger thing that you can tell is that Mitsuki and Mirai. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, my brain, shut down for a second. Mirai sound separate from each other. And that's something I really appreciate. Beyond the Boundary is a show that is probably one of my favorite Kyoto animation projects.
I'd say it's probably one of my favorites too, actually.
I have a huge love of this and Free particularly. And this is something I want to bring up. Until these two shows themselves came out, I hated Kyoto Animation as a studio. I fucking couldn't stand them. I hate, one of the animes I hate the most is K-On! And for a really long time, I thought Kyoto Animation only made K-On! Clones. Free was something I enjoyed because I didn't know it, but I like sports anime, and that had a bunch of pretty boys. Beyond the Boundary proved to me that not only one, they could do a darker action fantasy show that still kept a lot of their comedy, it proved to me that they could actually animate men.
Yes.
That weren't Barbie dolls.
Yep.
I'm not gonna, I could praise, if one thing, I know a lot of people have a lot of problems with the story of Beyond the Boundary, they're also wrong. Fight me.
Nice.
The aesthetic of this show is impeccable. The animation and the environments in the show are, bar none, some of my favorite things Kyoto Animation did.
It's so pretty to look at.
Yeah, legitimately, I only have the DVDs of the main series. I have the Blu-rays of the movie, and I was blown away.
I have the Blu-ray of the series, and even then, I'm just like, holy crap.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna hear and gush about Kyoto Animation. And that's the thing, too. At the time that this got picked up to be released in English, I was furious that this wasn't a Funimation title. Because this came out while I was actually still in college. And I used to watch this on Crunchyroll. Yeah, I hadn't graduated college yet. This was one of the things I really watched in college a lot. And this is when I actually started using Crunchyroll a lot, too, was to watch this show. Because, hey, Crunchyroll had it, and I had it. My library had an account, and I just basically got to bum their account to watch this. But the big thing is this. So the fact that Sentai did this, and it also be outside of the actresses for the characters Ai, Yayoi, and Mitsuki.
Yeah, Mitsuki.
I had no idea who the rest of this cast was at that time. I didn't know who. I hadn't watched any Sentai dubs, like, at this point. Obviously, now it's been 5 years since the original show came out, and I can agree that this is probably one of my favorite Sentai dubs. I don't have a lot of problems with it. The script is very, very, to me, felt very faithful to the spirit of the original Japanese. There wasn't anything that really stood out. There was the term, "this is why you get flamed," used a lot about Mirai's blog. But to me, that actually felt funny, because those scenes were supposed to be funny. Mirai's catchphrase of "how unpleasant" got translated really well, and that's something that I know when Funimation did Hyoka for Chitanda's I'm Curious, that they had to really keep in a way that fit the mouth movements, but also stuck to what this character is saying. And I really do appreciate Chris Ayres' work as the director on this by mixing some veterans not in the... There's only one, like, big super veteran, I would say, in the main cast.
At least at the time that it was
recorded,
yeah.
Obviously. But a lot of the other cast uses people also that I've watched in other shows that I may not have enjoyed their performances, but I love them in this show. And Lainey's writing came off really great. Her writing, I want to say this is a woman. I looked them up and I can't really tell. I'm going to assume Lainey is a woman. If I'm wrong, you can fix me in the comments. The writing for the emotional scenes in this show are fucking impeccable. And for a show that at its core speaks about loneliness, isolation, and overcoming that, that is something very hard to get across that comes off very genuine. And I think as a writer and directing team, they really nailed that in a way that I haven't seen a lot of Sentai shows do otherwise. I would still probably say that in terms of the best Sentai dubs, Nozaki's up there.
Yeah, Nozaki for me is definitely up there, too.
Yeah, like, Nozaki's up there. What else would you even throw up in, like, Sentai? Haikyuu's up there.
Haikyuu, yep. I would throw Haikyuu.
Umaru-chan.
I cannot attest to Umaru-chan.
I can't. I would say at least Umaru's performance can be thrown out, because I've seen at least, like, clips of Umaru-chan. Umaru-chan, at least for Emilini's as Umaru.
Probably... I mean, I know for me, My Love Story was a really good one that's up there.
Yeah, well, I'm not as sold on My Love Story. And I think that's just my general, probably, enjoyment of the show. Because I didn't find My Love Story to be as mind-blowing as a lot of people did.
Oh, I don't find it mind-blowing, but I found it very, very cute and entertaining.
Yeah.
It's not among my, it's not like it's like the absolute best, but it is a really good dub. I mean, I know for me, Hamatora is a good one, though it's probably not.
I know it's not up there.
There's a couple things that are probably not up there.
Starts with a D, ends with a grammatical murder. But yeah, no, like, this is kind of like one of the big ones that really, really stands out to me that was, like, super good. And, obviously, Chris Ayres is still not back 100% yet, and I hope he is soon.
Yes.
Because when Chris Ayres is on his A-game as a director, he is on his A-game, and this is just proof of that.
Yeah, because, I mean, since we brought up Dramatical Murder, he did direct that. So,
and I still hate that dub to this fucking day.
Yeah, so it's kind of a testament to show that, I mean, honestly, it could be just the problem with the show itself. And not
yeah, like, obviously Dramatical Murder is an awful, god-awful show, and from what I've understood, like, a lot of them just didn't like working on it.
But yeah, like, you can tell that there was a lot of enjoyment put with this show, that Chris really enjoyed directing this one, and this is one of the ones where he definitely brought his A game for sure.
I know we haven't talked about it, but I think Jet has said it, that one of Sentai's other, like, best dubs that a lot of people say is from the New World.
I've seen parts of it, yep.
I haven't watched any of it, and it's on my shelf.
We need to fix that.
I have a plan for this later on.
I also need to finish it, because it's weird. I've tried watching it 3 different times, and I've never been able to finish it. Why, I don't know. Very hard to watch, I guess.
Yeah. Unlike this show.
Slow burn. It's a slow burn. I think that's the problem.
Unlike this show. But are we good to move on to our first group of characters, you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've been here for a little while. Anyway, so we're going to start with our first kind of group of characters, which I've just dubbed the Spirit World Warriors. These are kind of a supporting cast that isn't around as frequently as our next group of supporting characters, but they still have a large impact on the show.
And I'm sorry, I love how you labeled 2 of them.
Clearly not evil, and totally not evil!
Also not evil.
In all caps.
In all caps.
And then I had this lady as, like, Fire Lady, but her power is more Earth, and then the mom was the second one. So there is Shizuku Ninomiya, who is a teacher at the school of our characters, as well as a Spirit World Warrior. Yayoi Kambra, who is Akihito's mother, who is a Spirit Warrior, very eccentric, and cosplays way too much.
Yep.
There is Izumi Nase, the older sister of Hiromi and Mitsuki Nase, who has a little more hidden underneath herself. And then there is Miruku Fujima, a man who is from the Spirit World Warrior Association, who is clearly not evil and experimenting on anything at all, and is totally 100% a good person. That's a fucking lie.
I mean, the same could be said about Izumi to an extent. So.
Yes. unless you're me and watch the movie and know what's really going on between the two of them.
I need to watch the movie.
You should watch the movie. I want to call it by
Izumi?
Japanese name. Future is the one that you're gonna watch. Because the first one, Past, is basically a retelling of the show. If you've watched the entire show, and you want to watch the movies, I know we usually say this at the end, but you can actually watch both movies on High Dive.
And the OVA that has not been released at all.
I think the OVA was only on the collector's edition.
Oh, that's probably it, yeah. I think that, and I think the collector's edition is out of print at this stage, I think, right?
Yes, is completely out of print at this stage.
Yeah, so you can watch on High Dive.
Yes, but you can watch the OVA on High Dive, and the OVA is actually really, really good, especially if you want to, especially if you're a fan of Hiromi. Which of course made it Stephanie's favorite episode. Shizuku is, Ninomiya is played by Amelia Fisher. Yayoi Kambara is played by Lucy Christian. Izumi Nase is played by Carly Mosier. And Miroku Fujima is played by Houston Hayes. Amelia Fisher is characters such as Kinoru Nishi in Girls und Panzer der Film, Jibril in No Game No Life, and Kitsuno in Nobunaga the Fool. Lucy Christian is a veteran to voice acting. A lot of people would know her, but if you don't, she's also Vivi Holopine in Chaika Coffin Princess, Chihaya Ayase in Chihaya Faru, and Minori in Log Horizon. Carly Mosier is characters such as Suzuka in Akame ga Kill. She is Seiko Tanaka in Haikyuu Season 2, best older sister. By the way, she gets to play Greg Kote's older sister in Haikyuu.
I'm excited now. Oh, shit.
I love Seiko Tanaka. And she's also Jime in Ushio and Tora. Houston Hayes is characters such as Sakamoto in Haven't You Heard I'm Sakamoto, Tadashi Yagi in Tamako Market, and Shun Ibusaki in Food Wars. So, how do you feel about these characters? Also, I keep having to adjust my microphone thing because it keeps auto-leveling me. And it's pissing me off.
At this point, I've learned just to fucking deal with it. Because I've done that several times and my audio just gets really weird.
So, you're you can just fix me in post.
I'll figure it out. I'm gonna start with Amelia, because I actually never heard of Amelia Fisher before.
Hmm?
And I also don't have a lot of notes about Ninomiya. Honestly. I don't know what to think of it, because this character's really just kind of in the background, and compared to some of the other performances, it didn't really stand out to me. The voice was rather distinctive, though, of course, much along the lines of every single one of these performances. It's very distinct, and I did enjoy it a lot. It's just compared to some of the other performances, it's one of those situations where the character kind of falls into the background because of it. Lucy Christian is such an eccentric mother, it's not even funny. Because there's really only 3 times where we get to interact with her in the entire show. 2 of which are through a spirit holographic postcard that she sends to Akihito.
And they are some of the funniest moments in the show because he just keeps on turning them back over.
Because she's such an embarrassing mother. And then the last interaction we have, and we have for a longer period of time, is towards the end, where she's talking to Akihito and the others about Mirai, and she also tries to hold back Izumi. And she is a very, very eccentric character, and Lucy plays it fantastically, but during the last couple episodes of the show where she does have to have some amount of seriousness, not too serious, because she still kind of has a playful persona about her, and like this cunning trickster kind of situation, because she knows a lot more than what she's letting on and what she's telling everyone. So she keeps all of her cards close to her chest, and I think Lucy plays those facets very well. Carly Mosier's Izumi, the Nase siblings are very interesting to me. And I picked this up while listening to all 3 of them. In the case of... the best way I can describe it is you can tell the difference between who's really, like, personality-wise. It's one of those things where you can listen to it and not look at the screen, and you know who's the naive one out of the 3, who is the most mature, who's mature out of the 3, who is...
which one's hiding something.
Exactly. And that's what Carly has to do. She hides a lot of secrets from everyone, including her siblings. And I think she portrays that very well. She's very mature sounding. She's mature. She knows what she's getting herself into. She's willing to risk everything to make sure, 1, everybody's safe, including her siblings, but more importantly, 2, I feel anyway, 2, her family is able to live on. That nothing bad is going to come after her family, and her family's going to be, like, dismantled or something. Because that seems to be a frequent...
Or someone's going to overtake their political power.
Exactly. That's like a subplot line that came up a couple times during the show.
It's also a big thing in the movie.
Good to know. I'm finally going to get that answered. So, given everything that goes on, I think Carly portrays all of these various sides of Izumi very well. The maturity, the experience and knowledge she has, and the cunning sides of wanting to protect the political power of the Nase family. And then Houston Hayes. Here's the funny story about Houston Hayes. So, I had realized... when I said during the Diabolic Lovers 2 episode that I had never heard of Houston Hayes before, I'm an idiot because I watched Beyond the Boundary before I saw Diabolic Lovers 2, and now that I can put this man's name attached to Fujima, I'm stupid.
You're not stupid, you're just Steph.
But, Houston is very interesting of a character. And but there is a slight problem with the character itself. It's not with Houston. The problem with Fujima as a character, unfortunately, it's kind of very, very obvious that he's the villain of the show. The main villain of the show.
There is no hiding it.
There's no hiding it. Not even in the OVA either. Which the OVA takes place, I believe, 3 years before present day or something?
Yeah, I think it's like when he's in middle school. They're also in I think Hiromi maybe a high schooler because he's a year older than Akihito and Mutsuki, and he's 2 years older than Mirai.
Yeah, because Mirai is a first year, Akihito and Mitsuki are second and then Hiromi is a third.
Yeah, and then in the movie, I think it takes place like a year after, so Hiromi is graduated.
So the main problem with Fujima as a character is it's so obvious that he's evil. Like, the show does nothing to hide it. So, unfortunately, that
yeah, because the show was actually hiding the other twist that is Izumi.
Right, exactly. So yeah, unfortunately the show does nothing to hide the fact that Fujima is a villain of the show, so it does have a little bit of a detriment plot-wise and performance-wise for Houston because of that. However, he still does really well, because if a character like this was very, very obvious, you could take it and make it as a slimy human being and go into the route of despicable, slimy human being. It didn't get that far, which I can fully appreciate that he went more of a route that was cunning and devious, but not a slimy, irreprehensible human being. Oh, and another note I actually have too is and this is probably gonna come up a few different times, but there are a lot of interesting dynamics in this show as well. In this case, Carly Mosier and Houston Hayes have a very interesting dynamic. It's very shrouded in mystery, and if I'm right, the movie does kind of reveal that more, right?
Yeah, the movie does go over what he did to that, what's going on with them.
Okay.
And it is a little bit creepy.
Oh, God.
Like, I don't want to spoil what it is, but it gets a little... It's like something like, okay, this is kind of like... I don't know.
Great. And I was thinking if I had time tonight, I'll watch it after we're done recording. Shit. But yeah, there are a lot of really interesting and diverse dynamics, and definitely one of the standout ones in terms of dynamics is between Carly and Houston. Because you can tell there's a past there. And one that's very, very conflicting. So I love the dynamic between the two of them, and I do like Houston's performance as Fujima because it doesn't go to the extent of super, super slimy creeper.
Not until it needs to.
Not unless it needs to. To which at the end, it didn't get that far still, but it got close, and I still loved every second of it.
Wait for the movie.
Oh, God. Shit. But
do that after you record this tonight.
I'm gonna have to if we have time, because I also have to work tomorrow. But yeah, like all of these performances, all these performances I really enjoyed. I think the only one I don't have a lot to say for is Amelia, because I'm not too familiar with her character, but two, Ninomiya wasn't there.
Ninomiya doesn't get to do a lot. Ninomiya is there to be sad and single.
She gets to be there like, I'm sad and single. Whoops.
I like that she keeps throwing things at this one kid in class who keeps reminding her she's single.
Yes, that's the greatest. But anyway, yeah, I'm good.
So yeah, let me jump up here. I'll agree with Amelia Fisher, though I did really enjoy her getting to be kind of snarky under her breath sometimes.
It was good.
Which is something that's really hard to pull off. Lucy Christian is... she sounds a lot more mature than I'm normally used to hearing Lucy Christian be. Mm-hmm. And it's really hard to balance sometimes when she's sitting there being a weird dumbass. She's doing cat puns and, hamster puns at one point.
Yep.
And then there's, one part where she's trying to do Shakespeare, and it's just very, very strange, and...
Shakespeare in, a devil demon costume,
a succubus costume.
Yep.
Which, I still... they never address how the fuck she had a child.
Yep.
We know that his dad is the Youmu, but, is this a situation, question, do you watch Voltron Legendary Defender?
No.
Do you care about spoilers?
I don't care.
Okay, cool. So if you've never watched Voltron Legendary Defender, the character Keith's mom is essentially, the kind of giant alien, evil race that they're taking on. And we didn't know about that until, earlier this year. And there were just so many, my favorite post on Tumblr was Keith's dad meets alien life form for first time, fucks it. And I was like, so I'd finished the movie, and bless their hearts. My friends who I go to MetroCon with, Emily, Doug, and Haku. So I said, so they never did explain where the fuck Akihito comes from. My friend Doug, without missing a beat, his mom lived the dream and fucked a monster.
Oh god.
I mean, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. That's the best part.
And knowing that Youmu turned into rocks, his dad was probably rock hard. But no, that's the highlight reel clip right there.
There we go.
No. Assuming that we don't get freaky when we talk about Hiromi. But no, Lucy Christian was great as this mom, especially in terms of the other adult characters, especially compared to like Ayaka and Izumi. She has so much life in her.
Yes.
By far, this is one of my favorite Carly Mosier performances, though. Is Izumi Nase, because I enjoy Carly Mosier as an actress, like, but she's really hit and miss to me. Like, there are times where I really enjoy her, and then there are times where I'm like, I'm not really feeling this. Izumi is a character I 100% believe that Carly Mosier was, like, born to play.
Mm-hmm.
She gets this character so well, and even this character runs a lot of gambits of emotions, like being like this head of this very political power, being manipulative.
Yep.
Like in a lot of the flashbacks between Mirai and Izumi, where she's like getting Mirai to try to kill Aki. And then, for me, the speech where they're in the park, her and Akihito are in the park after Mirai has basically absorbed Beyond the Boundary into herself out of Akihito's body.
And then Aki wakes up after like a 2-3 month coma or something?
I think it was like a 3-month coma?
I think it was 3.
I know the events of the series take place like within 6 months.
Yeah.
Because she shows up in the summer and it kind of ends in winter. Yeah, and he wakes up in the fall, so yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Because I remember, in his dream, it's summer, but in Beyond the Boundary, it's winter. And it's implied that Mirai has been fighting the Beyond the Boundary the whole time by herself. Mm-hmm. But that speech in the park where she's talking about, I did this to protect, all of this world. And it's, like, her job to do it, and then the speech is a lot between, like, her and Hiromi, and how she bounces off of Hiromi's actor.
Mm-hmm.
And especially how she bounces off of Houston Hayes, who, yeah, this character is evil from, like, 20 miles away, but you actually don't really fucking care that the character is really telegraphed, because him telegraphing hides Izumi, which is more of a big deal to me.
Right.
Because you know that this guy is up to no fucking good by the way he acts. And, like, he's like, oh, I'm here to investigate the Hollow Shadow. And you're more distracted by him being evil so that you don't get to pick up on Izumi unless you're paying attention to it. Mm-hmm. To which, another scene that really stands out to me is one of the first conversations between her and Houston Hayes is there's this thing on her wall. And he's like, oh, that's a frozen barrier. That's really cool. And he's playing up like he's never met her before.
Oh, yeah.
But it's clear that the way he's acting, he's hiding something, and then you find out, obviously, they had met before. And that, it's kind of revealed at the end that both he and her have Youmu inside them.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you do find out how in the movie. But the scene later on when they start talking about the calm for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's alone with this random woman. And it is so...
Oh, yeah!
And this is the thing, because I've watched Taboo Tattoo with Carly Mosier, where she has to try to be sensual, and that show has no sensuality to it at all. Carly Mosier's Izumi is so good. That scene had sexual tension.
Yeah.
That was palpable between two women.
I felt that too, yep.
And then it turns into utter fucking horror. Because she has sealed a live human being in a cage. And you don't know why she tries that until later on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Akihito getting fucked up by it. And Houston Hayes plays off this so well because he gets to be a little bit more over the top.
Mm-hmm.
And he also gets to play stupid. Because you're not supposed to... You obviously know that Fujima is fucking evil. But he has to, basically play off that he's a nice guy and he has the best intentions for everybody and stuff. And then you kind of slowly see him succumb to madness and do all these awful things. And I really enjoyed it. Like I said, Houston Hayes is not somebody I unfortunately get to hear a lot of. I've actually heard out of all of this group, Lucy and Carly mostly. Because Lucy and Carly work with Funimation, and if you've watched our channel, due to the way things are, we kind of get to do a lot more Funimation stuff. So we're a little bit more used to hearing people who get to do a lot of stuff with them. Obviously that has changed because we've done a lot more Sentai stuff in the last year.
Yep.
But with this direction, with the direction that was put, especially on Carly and, for Houston and Amelia, as well as Carly and Lucy, it really brought out a lot of really awesome performances. In particular, for me, probably the best I've heard Carly Mosier at in my time on Dub Talk.
Have you seen New Game?
No, I have not seen New Game.
Okay, then you need to fix that problem. Because I'm gonna really admit, I love Carly in that show too.
I will. Okay, you know,
obviously it's a more comedic performance compared to Izumi, but it's still a lot of fun.
I will watch New Game on one condition.
Why do I feel like I have to watch something in return?
Oh no, you don't have to watch something in return. Oh okay. No, there's somebody who's among us who's a bigger New Game fan than all of us.
Okay.
I will watch New Game on the condition that Andrew watches all of Dramatical Murder.
Okay. I'm gonna text him right now.
Oh no, I want you to leave it for this episode. Anyway, are you ready to move on?
Yeah.
Alright, so next group is group 2, who I have as the shop support, which basically more or less these are just the other supporting characters outside of our main 4, who appear far more often and get a little bit more screen time. They are Ayaka Shindo, who runs a youmu appraising shop and photo gallery that takes modeling photos for people's fetishes.
And she's also a youmu herself.
She's also a giant youmu fox who's badass as fuck.
Yep.
There is Ai Shino, who is a youmu girl who turns into an adorable little two-tailed cat, who is also a first year along with Mirai, as well as our other shop supporting character, Sakura Inami, who is actually an anime-only exclusive character, who is the sister of Yui Inami, the girl who was to essentially head the clan that took Mirai in after Mirai's family died, since Mirai's family was hunted to extinction for their cursed blood. However, due to the Hollow Shadow, Yui was possessed and Mirai killed her to essentially save her. However, Sakura held a deep grudge over this and was actually tricked by Fujima into using a weapon that got more and more powerful based on the Yomu stones fed to it. However, they eventually got over it and Sakura moved in with Mirai and kind of became like essentially her BFF from her past. Ayaka Shindo is played by Molly Circe, Ai Shino is played by Brittany Karbowski, and Sakura Inami is played by Caitlin French. Molly Circe you'll know as Centaurea, I swear to God this is her name, Centaurea Shianis, or she Anus, because I'm a child, in Monster Musume, Akame and Akame Ga Kill, and Michiko Oki in Tamako Market. Brittany Karbowski plays characters such as Orine Ida in AKB 0048, Maxi Akizuki in A Dog and Scissors, and Kanan Nagagawa from the World Only God Knows franchise. Caitlin French you will know as Naru Seika in Hana Yamata, Shiro in No Game, No Life, and Mei Tachibana in Say I Love You.
I think this is the first time we're actually really talking about
Yep,
Caitlin
because
Glass.
we've never talked about
Caitlin
No
French.
Game, No Life.
Caitlin, I'm about to say, why did I say Caitlin Glass?
We also got to
I'm
meet
getting my
her
Caitlins mixed up.
By the way, we also got to meet her at Anime Boston. She is awesome as hell and loves horror stuff.
Yeah, me and her. Oh lord, if I was in Houston, I feel like we would bond over horror so much. It'd be great. I'm guessing you want me to go first with my thoughts, right?
Yeah, you have the last two people.
May as well, right? I'm gonna start with Brittany, because Brittany is so cute and moe that it hurts. And hurts in a good way. Like, a good amount of these characters in the show are more, somber's not the right word, probably more mature and take more of a serious tone. Though some of the characters also are more comedic than anything. Ai is not really either of those. To me, she's this breath of fresh air to the show that it needs on occasion. Because she's just an innocent girl. She's an innocent girl who's exploring the world as a youmu disguised as a human, and she's just living her life like any other human would. And she's probably the closest to being a human being out of any of these characters. And that says a lot because she is a youmu. And she just has this bright energy that's very refreshing in a show like this, even with the comedy aspects, because majority of these characters are just more serious half the time. But Ai has an innocence and this high fun energy about her that kind of breaks up the monotony for the show, and Brittany plays that fantastically. Molly Cersei as Ayaka, because the last time we talked about Molly was Centaurea, I think, right?
Yes.
As much as you hate it,
fucking hated it.
Another show I really need to see at some point, where she took on more of a leading character, is I believe she was in Amagi Brilliant Park, and from the clips I've seen of her character there, that character is more of... She's actually, if I had to make a comparison, her character in Amagi Brilliant Park is similar to Sakura Inami, Caitlin's character. Much more, not monotone, but kind of deadpan in a sense. But here as Ayaka, Molly has a very calm presence about her. Very calm, advisory kind of presence to her. Which is, because when we talk about Hiromi also has, to me, a very calm, immature presence. But the difference is Ayaka is has more of a consistent calm presence, because Hiromi is a bit of a stupid pervert with a sister complex, but we'll get to that in a bit. But that's how I can distinguish the two, is that Ayaka is more of an advisory kind of role in a very calming manner, compared to Hiromi, and Molly plays that very well. Sakura's an interesting one. Sakura took a little bit for me to get into, I'm not gonna lie. And I think the reason why it took me a little bit to get into was because I couldn't quite understand the direction that Caitlin was going with the performance. Because there were times where it seemed like it was monotone to me, but it also was times where, at least early on when we see Sakura, where it almost sounds like she's in some kind of trance, if that makes sense. And it's very interesting, because if the latter was what they were trying to go with, to an extent, actually, in its own way, kind of works with the confines of the story, considering Sakura's motivations and intentions to try and kill Minaya for the sake of revenge. But it took a little bit for me to try and understand the direction the performance was going in for Caitlin, and while it did take some time, like, eventually, once we got the resolution the conflict between Sakura and Mirai. I enjoyed I finally got the performance. I finally got what they were intending, and I just enjoyed it a lot more there. But it's just the initial start that kind of took me back a little bit. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, Caitlin if anyone is deadpan in the show, it's her. And
it kind of calls for it.
It very much calls for it, because her character has very deadpan humor, and she just kind of just screws with people sometimes. It's great.
I'm sorry, I couldn't take it anymore. Where she kicks Akihito's mom.
Yes. I couldn't take it anymore. And then
she's like, can I kick her?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, that's the reaction she wants.
Yeah. Like, even though it was rough for me to be at the start trying to figure out what the intention was with Caitlin's performance and the direction for the character, I got it after that resolution of conflict. And if anything, she is the most deadpan out of any character in this group, and I actually got into it a lot. I keep saying this, and I said this a few times when we've talked about Scott Gibbs. I need to watch No Game, No Life for the sake of, one, the fact that I own the damn thing, and two, just so I can get a handle on her vocal range, because again, this is the first time we're talking about Caitlin on the podcast.
I think on the podcast, like, this is actually the first time.
Yeah, this is actually the first time, and I'm like, okay, I need to like get a better handle on Caitlin's range, like understand, because I feel like I need to. It's just something I need to do personally. So the other day I just took my No Game No Life set, put it by my TV, and I'm like, okay, the next time I have a free moment and I'm not marathoning a bunch of crap, I'm watching this show. So, but yeah, all three of these performances, despite at least one of them taking a little bit of time for me to understand the direction that they were going with it, I love them all. I really do.
Yeah. I'm gonna start with Caitlin as Sakura, because I had a little bit of problems, like, little kind of tiny problems, which is, sometimes I felt the deadpanness was a little bit forced. Mm-hmm. But the idea that she's in a trance or being controlled really made sense, because she kind of was, I think, like, entranced by the Hollow Shadow at one point.
Right.
But when she gets to be, like, a little bit more emotional, it really brings Sakura to life to me. Like, when she drop kicks Akihito in the back at one point.
Oh, after he wakes up?
Yeah, just like, don't show me such a sad back, and then, like, just whenever she gets to, like, kind of give Mirai the shakedown about being a little bitch, she really sells it for me. She's really cute. Which I was surprised, because like I said, I'm also not super familiar with Caitlin French. Unfortunately, she's in a lot of shows that I won't watch. Like, I'm not gonna ever watch No Game, No Life. That is not something I feel comfortable watching.
I mean, I'm only gonna watch it to satisfy my own curiosity about how Caitlin and Scott sound. That's it.
Yeah. I might watch Hana Yamata, because that looks like a show that's actually, like, kind of my speed and adorable. Brittany Karbowski as Ai is awesome, because I like Brittany Karbowski getting to play kind of this adorable little moe girl who isn't 100% sexed up.
Oh god, I forgot about
Looking
that.
right at you, fucking monster Musume.
Oh, Poppy, no, Poppy, no.
No Pappy, no.
No Pappy, no.
This is a no Pappy, no Sue zone. Get your shit out of here, you freaks. But, obviously there's the okay, let's just go with this. Episode 6 of Beyond the Boundary is the worst episode of the show.
I don't know about
it. Is.
I mean, plot-wise, yes.
Yes.
But comedic-wise, I love it.
Comedic-wise, it's hilarious.
It's great.
There are times where, like, they try to get Mirai to be, like, super sexy, and it's weird. And no, it's really cute when they do the idol performance, and she's, like, the secret weapon. And then at the very end, so which one of us is gonna kill it? Shit.
And then they just get stinked up again.
Yeah. I just genuinely enjoy, and I also like Britney's performance in that, where she's talking about, like, all the things they've overcome as a group, and you see this montage of them doing, like, the traditional, like, stupid high school anime shit. And,
yeah, it's great. Like plot-wise, that episode's the worst because it has nothing to do with the main plot. But comedic-wise, it's amazing.
Yeah, also, one of my other, like, favorite comedic bait and switch is, when Ai is talking to Mirai about the photos she can take, she's like, also, if you want, you can do nude shots. Don't worry, Ayaka keeps them in her personal collections. These are mine, and the first thing you pull out is a picture of her and her youmu form. with a ball because she turns into a cat.
It's the best. But then the other one, which we don't actually see, is clearly a Vi.
It's like clearly her like human form, and she's really adorable and she's really endearing. And I agree with her being the brush of breath air, fresh. Blah 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 blah. Lip flaps, lip flaps, lip flaps.
Talking is hard, guys.
Talking is hard, children. Though I will say this: out of all of the secondary characters in this show, outside of Izumi, my other favorite performance in this show for the secondary cast is Ayaka Shindo. And Molly Searcy completely flipped my opinion of her as an actress. I don't know what the fuck it was in Monster Musume, or the direction that was given to her for Monster Musume.
Well, Monster Musume is a piece of shit, so there's the first problem.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of really shitty things in that show with good performances. I mean, as much as I fucking hated it, Brittany Karbowski was good as Poppy, and Jade Saxton and Tio. Whoever the fuck played Tio, you thought it was me, but you thought it was somebody else, but it was I, Tio, stealing a dolphin.
Oh god, I gotta look that up now. I gotta remember who it is.
That show peaked when she tried to steal a fucking dolphin.
Keep going, I'll try and pull that up real quick.
Time for everybody in the comment to talk about, why would you even talk about Monster Musume? You hate it, you're just sexist to men. That was an actual comment.
Wow. Side note, it's just an overall offensive piece of garbage.
Yeah, no, real talk, guys. Girls are not objects. Anyway, back to the thing. Molly Searcy as Ayaka. Because Ayaka was actually one of my other favorite characters in the show, and outside of being gender bent Akihito, if I could cosplay anybody in the show, it would be Ayaka. And Ayaka gets these kind of deadpan comedic moments that I also very much enjoy. And they always involve the mom's postcards. Where it's like, don't talk about your mom like that, Akihito. She's so essential. If there was, I think one of my favorite lines of the show is, if there was an award for being the most avant-garde, your mother would win it.
Yes.
And she is just, there is just like also this beauty to the way that she holds herself as this character. Like, there is an unspoken confidence in her voice. There is no wavering in what Ayaka says. And that really comes through in Molly's performance. Like, when they're sitting on the battlefield the first time Mirai is ever exposed to the youmu Akihito, and she's sitting there with the barriers and explaining things, her voice never wavers out of feeling scared. She just is very composed and calm.
Yep.
And she has to be that rock. And the only times you ever see her get threatened, I think, are when she takes on Fujimo, when you see her youmu form for the first time.
Right.
And there's just something also very warm about it. And I was just blown away that this was an actress that I did not have. Obviously, I don't mean any disrespect to her, but obviously there are some times when you get introduced to an actress and it might be the first time you've ever heard them and they didn't leave a good impression on you. If I had watched this show closer to when I watched Mon Musu, I would have been even more disappointed in Centaurea's performance, because, again, just, there's a lot of flaws I find in that performance. But, man, I would love to see Molly Searcy play more characters like Ayaka.
Mm-hmm.
And I was completely blown away by the performance.
Huzzah. To answer the question of who plays Tio, Christina Stroop.
Thank you. Alright, so are we ready to move on to our first of our main four?
Yeah.
Let's talk about your favorite character in the show.
Mitsuki?
No, I switched it around, actually, in my thing, because I was going to do Mitsuki. I was going to do Mitsuki first.
Why?
Because Hiromi shows up less often than Mitsuki.
Damn it. But Hiromi has a bigger impact than Mitsuki.
Do you want to do Mitsuki first?
Yes.
Fine! Mitsuki Nase is the younger sibling of the Nase family. She is also she's also a member of the literary club. In her passions enjoy shitting on Akihito and her brother's fetishes.
She's the president of the literary club, right?
No, her brother is, I think, actually.
I thought it was mentioned that she was.
Oh yeah, she is. And then
But I was like, because Hiromi just meanders in for no reason.
yeah, Hiromi just
he just shows.
Also, Mitsuki is also a giant troll.
Yes.
Who at one point breaks all of her brother's idol CDs and replaces his music on his MP3 player with gay salarymen porn.
She's the best troll.
Mitsuki Nase is played by Monica Rial.
Huzzah.
Monica Rial. She is Mei Misaki in another, Yaya Sasami in Hana Yamata. That is also the dumbest name I've read in a while. And she is also Tomoko Kuroki in Watamote.
Monica has an interesting it has an interesting performance to her. Cause it's similar to a lot of roles that Monica has portrayed before. However, Mitsuki, again, kind of like I was saying with Izumi. Mitsuki, Izumi, and Hiromi. These three characters in particular have different levels to them based on their maturity and their age. In terms of Mitsuki, Monica plays Mitsuki as both very down to earth and realistic, but she also have a sense of naivety to her voice, due to the circumstances. And she's the one sibling out of the Nase siblings that's generally left out and isn't told about anything. I mean, Hiromi isn't told about the very, very important stuff, but he at least has an inkling of, he does at least know what he has to know. Mitsuki isn't really told anything, is generally kept out of everything. But she also has a sense of duty and honor to her family, a sense of pride to an extent, to which that's actually, I think, the strongest episode for Monica as Mitsuki, is episode 5 during the Lantern Festival.
Yes.
That's the strongest point for Monica's performance as Mitsuki, because, the big thing with that is she has never gone to the Lantern Festival before, because it's seen as a thing that you go to as a couple, and she always had the sense, based on her sister's words many years ago, that spirit world warriors are always meant to be alone. So here's that theme of loneliness coming back in again. Because it's the theme of loneliness in the show is not just something that's felt with Mirai and Akihito. It's felt with a lot of these characters, and Mitsuki is another prime example of this, with that episode that becomes very prominent. And Monica just portrays it very well during that episode. That sense of loneliness and the desire to have friendship, the desire to understand, despite being the youngest and being left out of everything. Like, she'll just throw herself into any situation. She does not give a damn. Like, a couple points when she and Hiromi are trying to confront something together, and Hiromi's like, "You need to go home." She's like, "Okay." Is that was something you think I was gonna say? Like, I love those interactions between the two. And she also has very fun and interesting dynamics with, obviously with Hiromi, her older brother, but she also has fun dynamics with Akihito. She also has an interesting dynamic with Mirai too, and it's a very strong performance. So despite Mitsuki being a character that, let's face it, this is something that Monica is very used to playing, Mitsuki herself is more than complex enough to make it something different than what Monica's used to portraying. So I really enjoyed Monica's Mitsuki.
Oh, definitely. This is, I like that, at least out of the 4 main actors, that at the time of the recording of this show, I wouldn't be as familiar with, Hiromi, Akihito, and Mirai's actors and actresses. Having Monica there as a presence that is familiar to people who may not be as familiar with Sentai performances,
yes,
is a very strong choice. And I'm very happy that they did not actually make her Mirai. Because there's... Mirai would have been another really easy choice to actually slot Monica into.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, any of the female characters in this show, Monica would have been an easy fit for.
Yeah, she would have knocked it out of the park, honestly.
She would have knocked any of these characters out of the park.
Yeah.
Regardless of who played them. However, I feel like Mitsuki especially was the right choice for Monica. Especially for somebody who has played endless amounts of teenage girls that a lot of times are usually Monica tends to usually be the butt of all the jokes, I've noticed. And of like getting teased or being like that person when she's the high school girl, she's kind of always like the really ditzy one to me. For me, the fact that Mitsuki was kind of the instigator in a lot of the comedy in the show. And she says some pretty outlandish shit.
Yes.
Like, she is, no offense, Mitsuki is a very mean-spirited person at times.
But Akihito, I thought your goal was to confess your feelings to me by the time we graduated.
Or like, she's like, no, this guy is just a pervert with a sick fetish for glasses and he's gonna do horrible, awful things to you. And she's a very mean-spirited person at times.
She's mean.
Yet, I feel like out of the especially in the OVA, this is one thing I'm gonna point out, is that something obviously, that OVA changes her. Because she is very, I feel like her naivete and innocence is very, very much on display in that OVA.
Yes.
When she, I think also being that OVA, she also, there's also this wonderful, like, moment where she tells Hiromi that she's no longer his cute little sister or something, and he, like, fucking loses his mind and, like, trips balls. And he, like, trips some acid for a second.
Yup.
But, that OVA, seeing the aftermath of what Akihito did to her brother, very much, I think, instills something in her.
Mm.
And I think that's where, Izumi kind of gets her hooks into, her sister about being alone. And obviously for a lot of characters in the show, it's a lot about breaking that cycle of being alone.
Right.
And connecting with other people. And for her, it's making friends with others, because you see kind of at one point, these two girls go, wow, that must be the Nase Manor on the hill. And she's like, yep, you would be right. And she kind of doesn't have any friends outside of Akihito, who... kind of at the beginning of the show, at least, you see less as a friendship and more as she feels that it is her duty to watch over him, obviously, because he's a half Youmu and all that shit.
Right.
Yada. And to me, Monica very much gets that sense of accidental isolation out, and the naivete that comes with believing everything your older sibling says to you, because they are your older sibling. And also, I've noticed the Nase siblings' parent very much absent from this world.
Yes.
Izumi's obviously the head of it. Though their grandfather exists in some crystalline chamber under the ground and is played by John Swayze.
And for what reason he's in there, we have no idea.
No idea. He's just there. Just let Grandpa get high on his crystals, okay?
Let Grandpa Swayze get high on his crystals.
Yes. This crystal lets me see the dragon in the kitchen.
Shit.
And this one tells me the dinosaurs died due to an incredible night of passion.
We played Cards Against Humanity last night as a group. Just throwing that out there. I almost won too. It was gonna be
Jamal came and cockblocked you. And this crystal tells me that Andrew really has a fetish for Daya from Love Live Sunshine.
Fucking hell.
Welcome back to the Tasteless Joke at Andrew's Suspense. Let Grandpa get high in his Crystal Garden 2018.
God damn it.
No, but just, there's so many, it is also really hard a lot of times for me to describe, like, why I like Monica Rial in, like, certain high school teenager roles, and why sometimes I'm like, it's another Monica role, and this thankfully was on the side that wasn't that, like, kind of hesitated, like, shrugging aside, like, I actually really do enjoy Monica Rial performances, and there's a couple of shows coming out, Okay, I just want to say this. I watched A Place Further Than the Universe. I've mentioned it this weekend. I would very much like to see Monica Rial in that show as one of the older female characters. Getting to hear her potentially play Gin from A Place Further Than the Universe is something that potentially intrigues me. But I just love this performance, and I really want to talk about her comedic performance against another character, so are you ready to move on so we can talk about the comedic bounce-off with Hiromi?
My favorite character.
Hiromi Nase
My
is
favorite.
the elder, the middle of the Nase siblings. He has a sister complex.
Surprise!
Kicks ass with a scarf. It might be gay for Akihito.
That's the OTP right there.
Hiromi x Akihito. Sorry, Mirai. Oh, what am I kidding? I ship Mirai Akihito too.
I do too.
Hiromi Nase is played by Adam Gibbs. Adam Gibbs, you will know as Tachi Mashima in Tachi Mashima in Chihaya, Sugawara Koshi in Haikyuu, and Yuki Sanada in Suritama. The floor is yours because we know you love Adam Gibbs.
Oh god. When I first watched the show in the dub, this was a few years ago, and this was around the time where I was marathoning a bunch of shit for the first W Awards.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this, there was Hamatora, I think there was a couple other things, but at the time, the only other time I had heard Adam Gibbs was in Parasite, and only for like 3 episodes. So you can imagine how I felt when I watched Hiromi and just fell in love with the character. Because Adam Gibbs is an amazing actor, and going back and seeing this again today, with Hiromi, again, it's this whole personality and experience situation with these 3 siblings. In terms of Hiromi, he does have this more, he has a bit of a mature voice to him. However, he's mature for the sake of being mature, if that makes sense.
He's acting mature when he's not really.
Yes. Because the OVA shows him as a very, very mature character, and then by the end of it, because we see the first time he's just, like, putting his hands under Aki's armpits, just, like, for the first time, and it's like, oh boy, here we go. Because between the OVA and, I think, the series, he kind of loosens up a little bit. And, while he does still act mature for the sake of it, and probably for the sake of appearances too, he also is kept out of a loop for the very, very important stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it eats away at him, especially the stuff with Izumi, his older sister.
Mm-hmm.
But how Adam, there's a lot of sides that Hiromi has here. Adam, here's how I saw Adam portray Hiromi. He's sassy. He can be a cunning trickster. He has a very smooth tone to him that's coming off as mature and can be calming at times. But he's also very much a troll to an extent. Not to the same extent as his little sister Mitsuki.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly towards Akihito. Mostly towards Akihito. But Adam also has a very good sense of comedic timing, especially with the moments where Hiromi does, like, where we see his sister complex on full display, when, episode 6 is also a thing as well, because he has a moment in there after he gets dragged into the mess, where he's the first person while they're all in the showers trying to get this stinky Youmu off of them. Or he's just like, I'm not giving up. In the name of the Nase family, he's the first one to go at it. And that was beautiful. No, like, Hiromi is such a little goober. Like, he's... You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
That's all I imagine Steph singing whenever Hiromi's on scene.
He's hilarious.
Make me happy.
And he looks damn good. And Hiromi looks damn good in a scarf. And this is coming from someone who loves wearing scarves too.
Oh boy.
Which is why I want to cosplay and do a gender-bent cosplay for Hiromi.
Steph?
What?
Girl.
Did I just dig myself a hole without intending it?
Girl, you're, I hope you have flood insurance for that apartment.
I just dug a hole for myself, didn't I?
More like started a, in-ground pool.
Great! Well, fuck.
You wanna know what I just thought of immediately when I said that?
Do I want to know?
Well, it involves Adam Gibbs in a stairwell.
You mean the hallway?
It was a stairwell.
It was the hallway!
It was a stairwell!
It was a fucking hallway!
A stairwell!
Why are we arguing about the logistics
He
of
jacked
fucking
off
Devil's
in
Line?
a stairwell!
Why are we arguing about the logistics of Devil's Line right now?
Because I'm fucking right!
God damn it!
Please imagine Anzai in a scarf now.
Well, the Unside did wear a scarf.
That was really adorable.
So,
gentlemen, if you are the lucky gentleman to one day, get Lilac to become your wife.
oh my god. Don't start,
And,
please.
you want to engage with her in some,
No!
Magic Wow Wow.
No!
May I suggest that you tie her to the bed
No!
with scarves?
Oh my god, I fucking hate you right now. Why are we doing this to me again?
BDSM. The S stands for scarf.
Shut the fuck up.
Would you like me to talk about Hiromi now?
Can I just summarize my thoughts like 2 seconds though? Bottom
Sure,
line.
go ahead, scarf fucker.
Shut the fuck up. Bottom line, there's a lot of complex pieces to Hiromi as a character. And Adam just portrays all of them very, very well, and hence why Hiromi is my favorite character of all things. Though Akihito is probably a close second.
Akihito is my son.
We'll talk
Akihito.
about him next. It's okay.
Anyway, no, I completely agree about Hiromi. And I think, actually, when I had started watching the dub for the first time, back when I bought the series when I did, that was the first time I'd ever heard Adam Gibbs in any...
Really?
It is Adam, right?
It is. Ladies and gentlemen, she sometimes can't tell Adam and Scott apart.
I get them confused! I'm sorry!
Yes, it's
And then
Adam.
I know they're two completely different people! I understand that! But sometimes my brain's just like Gibbs. It's like, who the fuck is Kyle? Which fucking Gibbs is it?
Wait. It wasn't you. It was Gigi, though, who thought they were brothers, right?
Yeah, no, they're not.
They're not. It was Gigi who thought that, and she got so surprised when I had to break the news to her that they're not related.
Which Gibbs is it? I don't know.
It's Adam.
Oh, it's Adam.
This is Adam.
Yeah, this one's Adam. I should know, because one of them plays an angry flying fish, and the other one plays the ultimate volleyball
I mean,
mom.
you should probably be able to tell the difference between the tones of voices, but okay.
I can tell the difference between the tones of voices. It's when I'm actually talking about them, sometimes my brain disconnects.
Your brain needs to reconnect.
My brain is like, okay, you know how, like, in My Hero when Kaminari uses his electric powers too much?
Oh, you go derp Kaminari?
Yeah, I'm Kaminari.
You're derp Kaminari right now.
There, I retweeted it, Kyle. Kyle has a couple of new prints, and one of them is, like, I think it's just the derpy Kaminari.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's just the derpy Kaminari giving the thumbs up, and it says Kaminari is my homeboy.
That
And I
is
want that on a
amazing.
t-shirt. Like, I want that on a t-shirt.
That's
I will buy a 3X t-shirt from you, Kyle Phillips, of that. But no, God, I love... This was actually, like I said, back on topic. this is the first time for me that I ever really got to hear Adam Gibbs. And I was really, really intrigued by it, and I loved it. And rewatching the series the first time after I've watched a lot of stuff with Adam Gibbs in it now, like, there's obviously Redacted that's airing with Funimation, and obviously he was the lead in another Kyoto animation show, Kyōkai. That was him, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He's in Kyōkai.
Yeah, I had to shut up.
It's one of his first Funimation roles.
Yeah, I know.
Of course I would fucking remember that.
Dig a hole, dig a hole.
Shut the fuck
Dig
up!
a hole and use the scarf to climb out.
Oh my god! This episode is going so wrong.
This episode brought to you by Yarn Brand Yarn. Yarn, it makes scarves. It gets you scarf-faced.
What's worse is I have yarn in my apartment. Because I've done some. I haven't done crocheting in a while.
You can knit yourself some handcuffs.
I fucking hate you.
They'll be nice and plush.
No! Get the fuck out! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Never!
And here's the highlight for the fucking highlight reel. Oh god.
This is why we're like, some days I am your Hiromi, and you know that.
Some days. But I think like 90% of the time I'm the Hiromi, you're the Akihito.
Oh yeah, I'm far more eccentric and open with what I'm into than you are.
Yep.
But no, like, for me, okay, because I have not watched the show in almost 5 years, 4 or 5 years, I totally forgot about Hiromi having the sister complex.
I forgot too, if that makes you feel better.
Adam Gibbs, and here's the thing too, I haven't watched a lot of comedic Adam Gibbs stuff outside of his character in Haikyuu. So him, which obviously was recorded after this, so him nailing all of the, like, little sister shit is the best. And one of my actual favorite ones is, when you learn what his ringtone is. And it's just Monica going, "Big brother," and my favorite thing is, like, after you hear her do, like, that cute, innocent Big Brother voice, is her immediately with, like, the most deadpan, "Change your ringtone."
How'd you know?
How'd you know? And he tries to play it off, like, so I like that the one thing that Adam really gets across when he's being comedic Hiromi is how nonchalant he is about being a fucking pervert.
He's
like,
very
he's
nonchalant.
So nonchalant, like, he's Andrew. He's our Hiromi. Andrew is just Hiromi without a sister fetish.
Oh my god.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Wow, okay.
Tell me I'm wrong.
It makes...
I'm not.
You're not.
I know it.
That's the best part, is you're not.
Andrew is our Hiromi.
Oh god.
Like Andrew is Hiromi, and there's like legitimately, like, as the Akihito of Dub Talk, we act like Hiromi and Akihito between the two of us.
Yes.
You would actually probably be our meat ski, because you make fun of me all the time.
It's true. But considering, like, and I've said this before, that, like, Andrew is my unbiological twin, because we are basically the same person. It makes sense that you two would be
Mitsuki and our Hiromi. But just there's the other thing too that I also genuinely love about Adam Gibbs as Hiromi, and you can actually see this a lot in his other dramatic roles, is he has such a good sense of timing and inflection.
Absolutely.
With drama.
Yeah.
Because there are some times where even I like things in dramatic performances, but you can tell maybe they peaked a little bit too early into their performance. Or they got a little bit too hammy, where the show called for it, but they were just like an eensy-bintsy bit too much. Adam Gibbs has this unnatural ability almost to get drama and deadpan across. But there's this sense of also that he gets, especially coming off of, I'm on the host of this fucking episode and I forgot her goddamn name. Izumi.
Yes.
And there's this sense that at one point in the show, he has to finally cut the ties of being this naive, in his own sense, naive and innocent towards always following Izumi and wanting to be like her.
Yeah.
And having to become his own man.
Right.
And and eventually we'll learn, take up becoming the head of the Nase family. And he keeps his weird thing about a sister complex and stuff there too, but the other thing I really want to talk about is Hiromi in the OVA episode, where he is very much he's very much his sister in the OVA.
Yes.
Where he is isolated, cold, and does not see the value in the life of Youmu. And just him getting absolutely fucked up in the OVA.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing is too, and the OVA is actually where I believe he actually breaks the cycle of being alone for the first time.
Yeah, I think he's among the first, because you don't see it in the series. If you just watch the series, it feels like Hiromi doesn't follow that theme and that trend, but when you get to the OVA, which is a prequel. Yeah, it's a prequel, which takes place at least a few years before the actual show, you do get that.
And you get it towards the very end where Akihito and him are sitting kind of at this train station talking to each other. And he said, I think, and he gets it actually in combination not only from opening himself up and attaching himself to Akihito, but from Mitsuki's words being like, Youmu come in all shape and sizes, because she has the little critter creature. Yakumo, her little critter creature.
Yep.
And Adam really, really gets that. And I think he actually kind of carries that sense of what Hiromi did in the OVA through the actual anime.
Mm-hmm.
So I do suggest that if you watch Beyond the Boundary, that you start with the prequel OVA.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then move into the series proper.
Yeah, because I started with the OVA too.
Yeah, this time around, because when I tried to watch the dub originally, the OVA wasn't legally available.
Yeah, but since it is legally available on High Dive, you really should, as a good indicator of parts of the story that are relevant into the series itself. It's a good place to start.
So are we good to move on?
Yeah.
So next up, I know I have it switched for you, but I would like to talk about Akihito last, actually.
Okay, that's fine.
We're going to talk about Mirai Kuriyama. Mirai Kuriyama is the one of the kind of the deuteragonous, I think it's deuteragonous, of the show. She is a girl from a clan that has been hunted down, who has the ability to manipulate her blood into a sword as well. It also has other things, like, I believe they actually go over, like, all the shit that it does. Like, it's also poisonous and can erode things, like, erode eternal organs. Like, Mirai's blood is pretty fucking metal.
Yep.
So, but over the course of the show, she believes that she has no value in life, and that she is of a cursed clan and destined to be alone. And over the course of the series, she becomes, and she's actually sent to kill Akihito, via Izumi's manipulations.
Yes.
However, she becomes quickly attached and eventually falls in love with Akihito and becomes unable to actually kill him. So when they learn that the Beyond the Boundary, the thing that's in the show, is actually housed inside Akihito and is what makes him immortal, she decides to, not of her own will, but as of Izumi's manipulations, take the creature into herself, and eventually her and Akihito do defeat it. However, at the end of the series, in defeating it, she shatters apart and disappears for a little while, and then reappears at the very end of the series. And then obviously the movie expands on what happens after that. But we are talking about the anime and not the movie. So, Mirai Kuriyama in the series is played by Crystal Laporte. Crystal Laporte you'll also know as Kohina Hiroko in Black Bullet, Misa in Log Horizon, and Shiori Asagiri in Tamako Market.
Aside from Caitlin's Sakura, that took a little bit of time for me to get into for a performance, the other person that took me a little bit was actually Crystal. Because if you've seen the dub, you know why. Crystal gives Mirai a very, very squeaky, high-pitched voice. Like, even, like, further beyond what Monica Rial is normally capable of. And there are points where if you don't understand the character of Mirai itself, there are points where you might find it obnoxious. And early on, it kind of is obnoxious. However, given the kind of character Mirai is and her personality, because if we look at Mirai's personality, she is a shy, closed-off kind of person who... She's not necessarily a hermit. I guess introvert is the big word we're looking for here. There it is. She's very introverted as a character. So she has a lot of shyness and quietness to her. And
then again, she's also raised to believe that she is a monster, and she herself believes she's a murderer for a little while.
Yeah. But given a lot of the personality traits that Mirai has, Crystal is still able to portray all of those facets very well. And it's a fun performance, because despite some of probably most people's early impressions, and even my early impressions when I watched it up for the first time, of it being very obnoxious, you grew into it because Crystal was very capable of and able to portray not just Mirai's personality, but her inner turmoil with herself through that kind of voice. And the voice is very like, going back to what we were saying earlier, her voice, if anything, is the most distinctive out of the main four. It's not just a quiet, shy girl kind of tone, too. She has her moments where she is legit a spaz. Like, legitimately. This is mostly the comedic moments that this occurs, where, just to give an example, Akihito asks a question, and she's just start freaking out, like cleaning her glass, like, no, I didn't do anything like that, and he just knows she's obviously, like, hiding something.
Yeah.
Those moments. Those are a lot of fun. Crystal has a great sense of comedic timing as well, with a lot of the more, the best way I can describe it for Mirai is spastic moments, really. And she, among all the other characters, has really fun dynamics with these characters as well. Like, she has obviously the big one, her dynamic with Akihito when we get to him is very phenomenal, and I loved it. She also has a great dynamic with Monica as Mitsuki. She doesn't have the dynamic between Mirai and Hiromi isn't really there. There isn't much of a relationship or friendship there, as far as I could tell, compared to her friendship with Mitsuki. And then there's her dynamic with Carly as Izumi. That's a very interesting dynamic as well, to kind of counterbalance, like, the happy friendship times. But yeah, I really, though it did take a little bit to get reacquainted to this performance, despite it having a falsetto, high-pitched sound, the fact that she can still portray all of Mirai's different facets of her personality, as well as her inner conflict and her inner turmoil with herself, I think it's absolutely amazing, because that probably requires a lot of vocal control to her, and I just have to give her props to that. But yeah, I do love Crystal Laporte as Mirai.
Oh, definitely. I'll also agree that it did take me a little while to get used to Crystal as Mirai. And for me, whenever Mirai wasn't getting overly stimulated is when she was at her best for me. This is in no way a bad performance at all.
Right.
Like, nitpicks that I have aside, like, sometimes it does get a little bit, like, too anime girl pitchy. And sometimes that's kind of the fault of the show that makes her a little bit stereotypical, like, high-pitched anime girl.
Right.
But when the show decides to calm down and get into the emotionally heavy stuff that Mirai is going through, Crystal just brings it to life. Like, there is such a sensitivity and fear in her voice that Mirai has over herself. And that being said, when when Akihito is in his coma, and the Mirai in his world admits to being a dream.
Yes.
And it's almost like Crystal's playing somebody playing Mirai. And she's like, I thought this would be a lot easier in your dreams than it is, but I guess it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
God, I wanted to fucking cry.
Yeah, I started crying too.
She nailed that stuff. Like, God, like,
it hurt.
Bitch.
It really hurt.
Like, fuck, man.
Because I feel like we've all been there. Like,
Yeah,
it was
and
so
it was just
relatable.
like, mwah. Like, it was so good. And then when she herself is in Beyond the Boundary,
Mm-hmm.
and she's carrying around the puppet Akihito that she's made, and she's just like, Senpai, you need to move, and she's just like kind of like the little sounds that she's making as she's like pushing and pulling this puppet around. It's just like, fuck me.
Mm-hmm.
And just
It hurts.
yeah, and Crystal makes it hurt really in like the way that you want it to hurt.
Yes.
Like, you need to have these moments be full of some crazy emotions and stuff. And while it does sometimes kind of get anime girl falsetto-y, it's such a good performance. And at the time, this is a breakout performance for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, since then, she's been in other stuff, but this was kind of like a big breakout performance for her as Mirai. And like I said when I was talking about Monica being Mitsuki, Monica could have easily played Mirai Koriyama.
Yes.
But I'm happy that she didn't. Because there is something about the way that Crystal plays Mirai as opposed to Mirai Seiyu, who, again, I'm also super, I was super attached to. And Mirai Seiyu actually sings the opening to the show. Chihore
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to get this actress's name correct because if I'm right, she does sing the opening. Also, we are going to say this right now. By the way, if you skip the ending for Beyond the Boundary,
you're an idiot.
You're an idiot.
That ending is
Daisy
so good.
by Stereo Drive Foundation is fucking amazing.
It's such a good song.
Oh no, I'm sorry. She does not sing the opening. The opening is sung by a woman named oh no, it's not her who sings the opening. It's Mitsuki's actress who does it.
Aha!
Minori Chihara sings the opening. But no, I want to talk about how Crystal plays her a lot more different than her Seiyu Risa Tanada plays her. Mm-hmm. Which is really funny, is if you don't know who Risa Tanada is, you would know her as Kaori from Your Lie in April, Irina from Food Wars, and I'm trying to find another one that might be a little bit more that people would know. Irina. She's also oh wait, she did not come back and reprise Irina though for this season. Whoopsies. She's also if you watch DxD in the Japanese, she is Zenobia, but she's mostly Kaori in the arena for the first 2 seasons of Food Wars. But Crystal plays her very differently than what I remember Risa Tanada playing her as. No, that's not the document that I want. I'm sorry. I have a Word doc with a friend of mine that me and her write stories on, so I accidentally clicked on one of the 2 stories.
Whoops.
Whoopsies. But no, that's all I really have to say about Mirai. Are we good to Mirai and Crystal? Are you good to move on?
Move on to your favorite boy?
Let's move on to not only my favorite boy, but probably who I think is the best performance in the show.
I mean, I actually may not fight you on that, though obviously that's because my favorite is Hiromi, but Akihito's up there.
I mean, I'm taking out my like of the character. I will fight that this is probably actually one of the best performances this particular actor has ever given.
That I can absolutely agree with.
So, Akihito Kambara is essentially the other protagonist of Beyond the Boundary, and he is also the person who carries the titular Beyond the Boundary inside of him, the immortal half-youmu who essentially, in the OVA, lived by himself, being tracked down by essentially spirit world warriors who kept trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And as you also learn through at least the movie and through some flashbacks, he essentially became lonely because other children would see him get hurt and walk it off, and they'd think he's a monster. And his mother essentially kind of became more and more absent from his life. However, at the start of the series, he essentially thinks Mirai is going to kill herself, and says, please don't kill yourself, you are a bespectacled beauty, and you look really hot in glasses.
He has a glasses fetish, ladies and
glasses
gentlemen.
fetish. But as the series goes along, you realize that he is actually more than just his fetish, as well as being the person to pull Mirai out of loneliness, not only for her sake, but for his sake as well, as he does eventually fall in love with Mirai Kuriyama. Anyway, Akihito Kanbara is played by Clint Bickham. Well, I would think, actually, we've talked about Clint Bickham more as a writer on this show.
It's very rare.
We have an actor.
It's so rare we actually talk about him as an actor.
Acting.
And I think this is one of the this is one of the
I think this is like the second time we have.
Maybe. And this is one of the very, very few times that we see him in a lead role.
No, I think this is actually only the second time we've ever talked about him as an actor.
No, but I'm also saying, like, this is one of the very, very few times that we've seen him in lead role.
Me too. Yeah, no, but I'm saying in, like, the course of Dub Talk as itself, the only time I actively think actually talked about it as him as an actor was from my team.
Yeah, I think so, actually. There might have been, maybe there was one more time before that, but if there was, I can't remember.
Yeah. So, Clint Bickham, you'll know as Mochizuke in another, Kenma Kozume in Haikyuu, and Prince Nataku in all of Sayuki. All of it. Sayuki, Sayuki Reload, and Sayuki Reload Blast.
Huzzah.
So, do you want to start off with this? I'm also going to preference this with this now. Bar none. Best Clint Bickham performance ever.
Oh, I'm going to agree with you on that. Like 100%. Because like I was just saying a second ago, as far as I'm aware of, I don't even think he's actually been a lead role before this or even since. I don't think that has happened, like, before this show and since this show that has been done. Which is very, very sad to me. Because he's very capable of carrying a lead character like this, and it's great. So Akihito is a very interesting case, and I think the best way I can describe Clint's performance as Akihito is with his interactions with Adam's Hiromi. So, because that's the best way I can describe it, because those two are complete opposites in terms of personality, where Hiromi has his mature, calming personality that likes to be a cunning, sneaky little shit. Akihito has more high energy to him and will just full out go fanboy mode when it comes to glasses and shit. And Akihito also has a lot of heart to him. He has a lot of sincerity to him. And those are all facets that Clint brings out of Akihito, and I just fall in love with it. Because he's very capable of bringing those bits of emotion and personality out of Akihito, but he's also very good at portraying Akihito's loneliness, while Akihito himself has his walls up. Because Akihito, to me, he doesn't show his loneliness. Like, he has this wall up. He'll say, like, he tells Midai early on that he's the same as her, and yet you don't feel that way as well. He doesn't, like, outwardly show it because he's trying to break this. He's gotten good at hiding it, for one, but then eventually he'll break that cycle on his own. I think he ends up breaking it probably around, like, in the latter third of the series, around the Beyond the Boundary incident, where after Mirai disappears, he comes to terms that he was able to let his wall down, and now he doesn't want to go back to this feeling of loneliness now that Mirai is gone. So he does everything he can in his power to try and get her back. So there's a lot of facets of Akihito's character. I think in terms of complexity with characters, Akihito and Mirai are probably the two most complex of the entire show, bar none. Mm-hmm. Because they're very similar in their own core complexities in their stories. But in terms of Akihito, he has a lot more energy to him, and Clint, you can tell, has a lot of fun with this. And then the other big thing, ooh, sweet baby Jesus, can we talk about Youmu Akihito for a sec?
Oh god, yes, fuck!
Oh my
Holy
god!
Shit!
Like,
I'm sorry.
What was it you...
Okay. I'm gonna put this out right now. Yeah. Youmu Akihito is my strike zone. Like, things that shows do, like that, and like, the design of how they did that.
Oh boy.
Those things. It's like Lancer in his titty shirt for me. You seen Lancer from Fate Stay Night in his like skin tight white titty shirt? The man has man titties. Like,
No, but the reason why you're bringing up half Youmu Akihito in this...
Oh, the screaming.
Yeah. Like, what was it you were saying earlier that
like when Akihito screams, like I swear to God, I was like, you sure this isn't Bryce Papenbrook?
If anything, I think he puts Bryce Papenbrook to shame, man.
Yeah, like I was like,
holy
damn shit, man.
Like,
well, that's not true because Bryce Papenbrook's Attack on Titan screaming in season 2 is really good.
It is, but
this came before that.
So all things considered, but when Clint has to portray Youmu Akihito, oh my god, you can tell he's in so much pain. You can feel the pain that the Youmu half is feeling. You can feel the fear that he feels. Like, even if it's just in a bunch of screaming, like that entire thing, you can still feel all these different kinds of emotions from the Youmu half of Akihito. And seeing Clint portray that, it's like, Jesus Christ. Like, Clint was given an opportunity with this lead character, potentially his first lead character. Of course, I need to research more. But if this is the case and this is his first lead character, he is given the opportunity to show so much range. And it's terrifying. And it's amazing. Like, there's a lot of facets to Akihito as a character, both with like his human half, with his personality and high energy, with his inner turmoil, with his battle over his loneliness, and then there's his Youmu half, where he has to be this fearful yet terrifying monster. And every second that Clint was on screen portraying Akihito was downright phenomenal, and makes me go, why the fuck has Clint not been another lead role? Why? Like, I'm mad about it, because I don't recall him being a lead character after this show. I want to see it happen again, guys.
I don't think I have either. We obviously could be wrong.
We could be wrong, but if we're not,
someone's gonna correct us in the comments, like, you guys are dumb.
Yeah, like, if we are wrong, then awesome. I need to go watch that show right the fuck now. But if I am not wrong, and this is the only time we've heard Clint pick him as a lead, why the fuck hasn't he been a lead in anything else? I'm very sad. Don't get me wrong. We all know that I love Adam Gibbs as a voice actor, But give the man a break for lead roles and give something to Clint, please. Stop it!
Jesus effing Christ. God, this is such a good performance. And I had, as somebody who hadn't watched the show in like 3 or 4, like, I think I said like 4 or 5 years. Oh my god. Like, it was, if you didn't know any better, like, you would have thought that was Bryce Papenbrook at times.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not somebody who doesn't know. That being said, there was such an emotional levity to this performance that despite any time Akihito is smiling or anything, you can hear that he's trying to force himself through it sometimes.
Yes.
And just like, God, there's so much more I want to say, but it's in the movie. Fuck.
Please don't, because I need to see the movie.
I'm gonna say this though, if you think obviously we're not talking about the movie, if you think the performance in the show is good, holy shit. Just the performance in the future movie is just like, boy, like, this performance is beautiful. There are so many layers to it. And I want to say that being a scriptwriter, obviously I can't tell if Clint was writing scripts back when this was recorded, unfortunately.
I imagine he was. Because Beyond the Boundary was 2015, right?
I want to say the dub probably came out in like 2014, 2015.
It was 2015. We've been over this. It came out in October of 2015.
Oh, 2015. All right, that's right. We went over it this morning. Being a scriptwriter, I think helped Clint in this situation. Being an adaptive scriptwriter, he obviously did not write the adaptive script for this.
Yeah,
but there were just things about that performance where the narration, I feel like for some people at times would probably come off as very monotone, but it's not, because you're supposed to be hearing Akihito relate this in kind of this cold, distant way at first, where it's like, there are two types, like, the stories in this world line. And if I was in my right mind, I would have been the guy who was passive and left myself to isolation. Mm-hmm. But instead, he kind of throws himself into being around Mirai and eventually falls in love with her. And just, there's such a weird intimacy to his performance that you don't really expect from a show like this, or from a character like this, who is very open about his perversions.
Yes.
And he is very comedic at times. But there's a sense of just humanity to him that Clint just gets across. Mm-hmm. And you're almost, it's so spellbinding, especially when you're watching the last 3 episodes of this show.
Yeah.
Or the last episode, the last arc of the show with the Beyond the Boundary. Specifically, I think it's Gray World, Black World, White World, and Gray World are the last 3 episodes. And just the emotionality and the arc of it, and to me, the highlight moment for that is when they've kind of killed all these youmu around. And this big fist comes up and he meets it and he's like, my jealousy, my rage.
I felt everything.
You could feel him punching and just all of the things that he's talking about that he's gonna hide because he loves Mirai, essentially, and he doesn't want her to have to take on those burdens. And then they wake up surrounded by all of the kids and the people who kind of have the darkness in their hearts. And he's just like, Mirai, close your eyes. And he takes her hand. And the speech he gives there, too. And it's just, Clint nails everything. And like I said about Adam, knowing how to inflect his voice and time the drama.
Yes.
100% flies to Clint, too. And I feel like if I had finished the show, I think I gave Clint the W that year.
You might have.
And if I didn't, I feel like a moron because it deserved it.
And then I think potentially I might have given Adam one for Hiromi along the way.
Hiromi. So are we ready to kind of move into final thoughts and wrap this up since this isn't like as long as it is?
Yeah, but side note, because I was looking into Clint a little bit more. So before people correct us, he has had another lead role since Beyond the Boundary.
Which is?
Unfortunately, it's Chivalry of a Failed Knight.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So I've actually heard a lot of people like that show, so.
I've heard a lot of people like that show too, but I've also heard it's complete garbage, so...
50-50.
50-50. Depends on your preference. But yeah, before people go in and correct us.
Yeah, so
Here we go.
Okay, so like two, that's 2 shows. That's not a lot.
2 at the very least. I briefly looked over. There might be another one, but at the very least, there's another prominent one for him.
So, final thoughts.
So like I said at the beginning, this is probably, to me, this is one of the best English dubs that Sentai Filmworks has ever produced, bar none. And it is strong works, but there are lots of reasons for that. The direction is very solid with a very diverse cast and phenomenal performances on all fronts, despite some minor issues here and there. The writing, to me, seems very faithful, but isn't afraid to have small moments of looseness to it, with the comedic moments. And performances are so full of heart, sincerity, and emotional weight to them that the characters become very, very complex to me. In a show where, in a span of 12 episodes, it could, like, in a span of 12, let's face it, a good amount of one-core shows that are in, like, the 11 to 13 episode range, it's going to be hit or miss in terms of how well you develop your characters. Not only does the show develop the characters very well, but I feel like the dub elevates those characteristics and personalities a lot more, to the point where you can relate to characters, to the point where you will cry about characters, and you just get attached to these people. So I think overall the dub is spectacular. It is very much worth your time. I need to go watch the movie now. Shit. Yeah. That's all I gotta say. It's definitely one of the best that I've ever seen Sentai produce. Ever. Strong words, I know, but that's how I feel.
Here comes all the people, like, defending Mr. Musume.
I don't think many people will defend Mr. Musume to an extent. Because, like...
Here come the Queen Saga defenders, boys!
This is not Ghost Stories. What is your problem?
Ghost Stories was ADV, not Sentai, fuck off.
Still, I mean, to an extent, ADV eventually evolved into Sentai to an extent, so...
I know, we do a panel about this. So. This is a series I have a lot of sentimental attachment to. Let's do story time with Megan. This is a series I'm actually really intimately connected to. If you don't know, back in the day I used to be an AMV editor, and one of my actually, like, I have 2 AMVs that I have a lot of pride in. Well, 3. They've all netted me awards, but particularly, I almost won Best in Show with my AMV for Beyond the Boundary. And I actually made a guy who now runs a con in Florida cry his eyes out and go watch the show. So this is a series I know on a level that's beyond writing. Where I know cuts, mouth movements, like, crazy shit for the show. Stephanie is 100% right in saying this is the best dub Sentai has probably ever produced. And they have not gotten super close to it since. Maybe Nozaki-kun is the only other one that gets close.
Nozaki is pretty close.
But that's because that's a comedy and this is not.
Yes.
And they're 2 different animals. There is a level of care and detail put into this dub that I don't think that Sentai needs to put back into a lot of their stuff. I enjoy a lot of Sentai stuff. I really do. I have Sentai products on my shelf. I'm super looking forward to things like Princess Principal, Made in Abyss, Hitori Jime My Hero. What else did they confirm was getting a dub?
I have no idea.
There's 7 Heavenly Virtues, which, by the way, we're getting the band back together for that.
Oh, God.
I'm putting myself through hell again for your amusement, people! Also, it's a series of shorts, so it won't hurt me as much. And then I obviously have things on my shelf like The Life of Midori Gusuko, which they also put together. Kids on the Slope I have on there, but I haven't heard super good things about that dub. Thanks, Stephen Foster. That was the saddest wee. Stephen Foster. Put me in Grandpa Nase's crystal garden so I can get high and forget about Stephen Foster.
Oh my god.
Gag me with Hiromi's scarf.
God damn it.
Steph wishes she was.
Stop it!
Never!
God, I hate you.
I love you.
You suck.
But don't potty mouth. Remember, Jesus is made with about as much weed as $20 can get you. Anyway, but I loved rewatching this and sitting and going through this again with this dub fully. And it is beautiful and funny and charming and just... It reminded me how much I enjoyed this as a show. And why I said in the Hyouka episode it was my favorite Kyoto animation show, which unfortunately Hyouka is just a little bit better as a show to me. This is a solid number 2. If we're all asking what my number 3 Kyoto animation show is, get in the pool.
Get in the fucking pool.
It's get in the fucking pool. It's free, guys. Like, it's free.
I mean, surprise.
Don't be surprised by this. I sincerely hope that Chris Ayres is on the mend. I genuinely do. Yeah. Because as a director, when Christopher Ayres is on his A game, he produces some of the most beautiful work there can be. And as a director, if I had to pick one show that he did the direction on a dub for, I would show you Beyond the Boundary in a heartbeat. Because it is that well put together as a dub. And if you want to watch Beyond the Boundary...
Segue!
Segue! You can head on over to High Dive. High Dive is Sentai Filmworks, Section 23, made in Japan, all of that fun stuff. Their streaming service. They also do, now on occasion, dubcasts. As of the time of this recording, we do not know their summer dubcasts. However, if you watched our episode on Devil's Line, they had that as a dubcast, as well as Doreku. But in terms of the Beyond the Boundary franchise, you can watch the entire series, the OVA, and both films, past and future, which I believe the titles are Beyond the Boundary, I'll Be There.
Yes.
Mirai Hen, and... Oh, I forgot what past is. I know Mirai Hen is future, because Mirai is the word for future in Japanese. And I believe High Dive costs $4.99 a month?
Yes, I believe that is the case.
Yeah. High Dive is $4.99 a month. If I'm correct, though, I'm gonna check it really super quick.
Yeah, to give you another heads up as well, another way to see Beyond the Boundaries if you own it. The series is out on, both on Blu-ray and DVD. If the DVD version is not out of print, since Sentai has been weeding out releasing DVDs.
But you can buy it on Blu-ray. However, if you are interested in just the subtitled version, you can still watch that on Crunchyroll. However, the OVA is not on Crunchyroll, nor are the movies. The only way you can watch the OVA is on High Dive. Do not go looking on Crunchyroll for the films or the OVA.
Yep, and as for the films, I know we did not cover them, but the films were released together in a Blu-ray set last year, so that is still available as well.
Yes, they are a singular set. You do not need to buy both movies separately. They will come on one set. And actually the Blu-ray, specifically just the Blu-ray disc actually holds both films.
Really? So one disc has both films?
Yes, one disc has both films.
Interesting.
And then the DVD, I think, is each film's on each DVD.
Huh.
That being said, if you would like to follow us at the Dub Talk Podcast, you can follow us here at Dub Talk Podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Twitch TV. We also have a Ko-fi. If you would like to donate to our production to help us get an RSS feed, if it's not been set up by the point of this recording, and help us maintain that as well as other costs that go into production, or if you just like us enough that you want to give us money.
Give us a tip and support us.
Give us a tip. Give us a tip and support us. Yeah, but yeah, you can donate, buy us a Ko-fi.
Buy us a coffee. Do it, guys.
Buy us a coffee, or in our case, whenever you donate to the Dub Talk coffee account, I know it says somebody's bought us coffee instead, you can buy us goats. We can have an office full of goats.
Someone said,
even though we don't have an office.
Someone said earlier today when we because today, as of recording the episode, this is we officially launched the coffee account. Someone was like, that'll be very tricky. You'll need like 12 straws for that. I'm like, we'll have to have a large coffee as well to make this work.
Here's the good thing, I don't need a straw because I actually hate coffee.
Good, more for me.
Do you want to know how Megan gets up and runs about her day? I actually use Mountain Dew as coffee.
I'm about to say, you don't run off of a natural high? Just Mountain Dew?
Nope. Nope, I just use Mountain Dew.
Yay.
So, if you would like to follow Stephanie, whore yourself out and use that scarf to ride.
I am so gonna kill you.
No, you're not. Not until we're in Texas, bitch.
Oh, god damn. So if you're interested in anything that I do, the best way to follow me and my daily shenanigans and bullshit is through my Twitter at Lilac Anime Review, with review being spelled R-E-V-U-E, because I don't have much else going on in my life outside of work and the podcast and stuff. But I am going to Anime Fest in August, so
Yay!
There's a plus side.
And if you want to follow me, you can follow me at QueenEra2. I shitpost on a daily basis and flirt with my boyfriend. Not really. We flirt in DM. Thank you. But you can also hang out with me, with myself, Andrew, and Hardy over at the Funimation Discord. And just general, like I said, just follow us at Dub Talk Podcast if you're interested. So, with that, Steph, we are good. We have come across the boundary.
We have finished the filler episode of the year for us.
Congratulations, we did it. We did it, fam.
We did it, fam.
When nobody else wanted us to.
Like, I don't even know what we want to do next year for the filler episode. Because you said I could host the ones we do.
Yeah, you get to pick the next year. Because I picked last year and I picked this year. So you get to pick the next 2 years.
Yes. I don't even know.
It's Lilac's choice.
Lilac's choice for like 2 fucking years. Hooray! Or unless we get bored and do 2 episodes in 1 year. I mean,
we could do another filler episode this year. I'm not fucking opposed to that.
I'm not opposed to it either. I just don't know what. We'll talk about it later.
I mean, I was gonna suggest one, but then I promised Roots and Hardy that they could be on that episode with us.
Which
so.
one was that?
Laughing Under the Clouds.
That's right.
That's an episode I'm hosting despite never having watched the show.
Hooray! It's not like I haven't done that several times before.
I was gonna say, you can cut this out. You know it would be a fun filler episode for us to both do, because I've never finished the show. And I know you wanted to go back and redo this show as an episode. Maria.
Fuck you, right? You're right. Well, there might be some people who want to be part of it, though. That's the only downside.
They can suck a dick. They can suck your scarf.
Oh my god.
Anyway, let's end this up. So, good night, everybody.
Good night, guys. Otaku on, everybody.
And make sure to always wash your scarf after sex. Good night.
I have nothing to say, but fucking stop.
Never! Otaku on in hell, my bitches!
You're such an asshole.
I love you.
I love you too.
Every time you wanna think of me 最初に出会ったあの場所でさ死にゆく